We would like to continue our agenda by inviting the President of the University of Dubai, Dr. Isa Bastaki, to present Leadership and Innovation Towards Knowledge-Based Societies. Dr. Isa Bastaki is the former CEO of the ICT Fund and is actively leading the effort to create an ecosystem in the UAE ICT industry by encouraging entrepreneurship, funding R&D projects and university scholarships, and implementing ICT initiatives at the school level. He is also leveraging the ICT sector to bring together industry, academia, and government in a partnership that supports homegrown ICT initiatives. Please welcome Dr. Isa Bastaki.
Thank you very much. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Distinguished guests, gentle ladies and gentlemen, good morning. We're still in the morning, yes. Actually, my talk is mainly about, it's UAE-centric in the global sense. So I'll be covering everything what's got to do with a knowledge-based society or knowledge-based smart society, and what are the elements that will make UAE to go into knowledge-based smart society. So right now we are all working towards smart societies, but something is missing, which is knowledge-based smart societies. Where is the remote? Okay. Of course, the founder of this young nation, Allah Rahmah Sheikh Zayed, he said, this is what has convinced us to direct all our resources to building the individual. So the main goal is always the individual. And this is what I'm trying to emphasize today. Individual is very important for whatever we are doing for the future. Wealth is not money, wealth lies in men. And this is what we are creating in this UAE. Sheikh Khalifa, the President, His Highness, has said that the Federation of the United Arab Emirates has relied and will continue to rely on the rich and diverse contribution of its true wealth, which is its people. Again, about people. Again, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid says that there is no other choice for us but to be number one. So I hope that 2020 or 2021 will be either number one or one of the top 10 in the world. And I like this thing, impossible doesn't exist in my dictionary, what he said. You've seen all those old science fiction movies that we thought was impossible, it's happening. So really, nothing is impossible. This is a book, and also in English, that became globalized. We need to look at globalization. That's why I said it's UAE-centric, but in the global sense. Well, if you look at society's job is to achieve happiness to the society. Now, again, it's the individual they're talking about. Future government will offer all these services anytime, even seconds. And a person asked me, how can you become number one? And what it is, you don't get used to getting used to. That's where stagnation comes and stops. The biggest risk is not to take the risk. And there's no other choice of being number one, and impossible is not in his dictionary. Of course, his example is the Prophet ﷺ. Now, if you look at this photo, it was 10 days ago or something. You look at every person has a mobile or a smart device that's taking pictures. I think this is the beginning of smarter devices. I don't consider this smart, but there will be smarter devices. Now, my talk is following. I'll be talking about mainly the elements of knowledge-based smart systems or societies, you can talk. The elements are leadership and innovation. This is one of the major important thing. Knowledge society ecosystem, and then future trends. And knowledge society ecosystem has 4 elements. I'll be talking about them. And education is the main pillar of this ecosystem. And then, of course, the talking about a lot is ubiquitous Internet of Things, which earlier was said in the Internet of Everything. I call it ubiquitous Internet of Things. Introduction. The video, please. This is in 1999. No sound?
Check messages.
One vidmail is marked urgent.
Play urgent.
John, I just gave the match to Dystrom, and in return, he gave us a letter of intent for Cyberdyne. So we're go for the new processor design. I've sent the figures along for your review.
Pause message. Transfer data attachment to room screen.
Transferred.
Resume vidmail.
We can hold a few days, but we need to crunch these numbers and give an opinion. So call me back soon, okay?
This looks good.
End of message.
Call Stephanie Lucas.
Connecting.
Hey, boss. You just caught me. I was about to patch out to get some work done.
Hi, Steph.
Oh, there you are.
Hey, before you go, could you pull together a team conference of the Global Region account managers? We need to discuss this Cyberdyne letter of intent on the neural net processor.
Consider it done.
Disconnecting.
Excellent. Now, focus on tonight's meeting. Compose message.
Composing.
Lawrence. Arrived in Paris on time. Looking forward to tonight's meeting. See you at Les Saveux at 8:30. End message. Translate into French.
Translating.
Attach your interactive business card.
Attaching.
Send.
Sent.
Now, access car rental. View availability. Sedan. Luxury. Black. Corporate credit card. Hotel Beaux Jours. 3 p.m. Confirmed.
Transaction complete.
Now, let's tour Paris.
So you look at this video, it was actually in 1999. This was planned to be implemented in 2007. It didn't happen because the technology was there, but there saw other elements that affect this kind of technology to make it happen. One of them is applications were not there until App Store came in, everything excelled, and you look at the cost, you look at the mobility, all these together things that will affect the implementation of these kind of things. Now we are ready to do it. It didn't happen because the world was not ready for it. So towards ubiquitous, smarter society. A smart society implements smart systems. A knowledge smart society produces knowledge using smart systems. So still, and what I'm looking at is ubiquitous knowledge society, where it produces integrated knowledge using integrated smart systems. This is what we are supposed to go, UAE. Some countries in the world are already very close to this. Now this is a ubiquitous city model. If you look at it, it has all, you can call it now the Internet of Things that they call it. It's more than that. Any services, either through health city, convenience city, I mean, you look at safe city, look at pleasant city, environments and so on, all these together is all connected to one system, which now people call them clouds, whatever they call it. At the end, it's a one system that does all the applications that the users require. What's the strategic vision? That's what I have, is to achieve a long-term, sustainable, prosperous, and productive lifestyle after oil for UAE's next generation. This, what I mean by that is that UAE after oil will still sustain. It will, if it will become a knowledge-based smart society. If it's just smart society, it will not sustain. So we need to create knowledge in order to become sustainable. Elements of knowledge-based smart systems, I said, number one is leadership towards innovation. Sheikh Mohammed long time talked to young leaders and told them that I want you young leaders to be lions and work towards leading lions. That's a key issue. If you want to be a true leader, you have to lead leaders. Otherwise, it will not happen. You have to lead lions. If you lead sheep, it's a completely not a leadership anymore. Thinking, Dr. Abdul Kalam, the previous president of India, said that thinking is progress, non-thinking is stagnation of the individual, organization, and the country. But thinking leads to action. Knowledge without action is useless. So we need to create the knowledge, but we need to create the action that will, at the end, this knowledge with action converts adversity into prosperity. And this is what we need to do in the world. Lots of adversities everywhere. We need to all transform them into prosperity. John F. Kennedy in 1962, he said, we want to go to the moon at the end of the decade and do any other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. The word hard is very important. The kids that are brought up right now, they don't realize that things are not easy. If you want to be productive, you want to be innovative, it has to be hard. Nothing is easy. Of course, the management gurus and leadership gurus have said that management is doing things right, leadership is doing the right things. Leadership is the capacity to translate vision to reality. So the leader should have a vision and this leader should know how to go into implementing it. The job of the leader today is not to create followers, it is to create more leaders. Now, what are the leadership characteristics? Of course, number one is always a leader should have a vision, a very clear vision to know where he or she is going. A leader should know how to plan to reach the vision. A leader should be ambitious and innovative, very bold in all senses. A leader should lead by example. And a leader should empower, give all the power to those who are working with him or her. A leader should enable also, not just empower, but give them the tools to make it happen. And a leader should produce leaders, and of course, at the end, the leader should think out of the box. If you always are within a limited area or size, you will never continue to develop or progress. Now, what is the knowledge ecosystem? That's number two. Number one was leadership. Number two is the ecosystem. The ecosystem is education, research, and business development. We are missing the word B in this part of the world. There are lots of research and developments, but it's never become business-wise successful. So we need to make sure that we are talking about research and business development. Incubation entrepreneurship, we started now, but still it's in the infancy. We need to accelerate that and expedite this process. And of course, we need a main infrastructure, and Ankabut is the example of that infrastructure. Education towards innovation, that's the first element. A businessman, his name is Jum'al Majid, he said that the best donation is education. That means education should be compulsory for every person living in this part, in whatever land he is. This should be compulsory. That's why he says, if you donate it, you may make it free. That's where the education is all about. And he has done a lot of those free education. The late Nelson Mandela said education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Of course, he means it positively and not negatively. Now, the innovation ecosystem, if you look at it, now in education, we have education is the main part of it. Make sure that we instill in our kids that education is very important. Don't listen to those that said there was some who was not graduated and still he or she became the most successful person. Those are exceptions. Most of those who are successful actually have a lot of good education. Research and business development. So we need to take care of this kind of research and business development in order to encourage between academia and industry relationship, between private and public, and all triangulate together to make it successful. Of course, incubation and startups. And when you have these three elements, incubation, startup, where you produce knowledge, then you go into made in UAE, sold globally. So we're talking about UAE-centric in the global sense. To make sure that whatever we produce, it's sold globally. Then we will move from a smart society into a knowledge-based smart society. Of course, when I talk about knowledge, I mean everything. A book could be a knowledge, like Dan Brown has sold millions of copies everywhere in the world. All the 5 of them, the 6 is coming now. So things, even art, literature, everything is important as long as it is made globally. An example of college education, this is just a quick review, just University of Dubai. I'll not talk about it, just, it's not moving, okay. The second element of the ecosystem, of knowledge-based ecosystem, is research and business development. If you look at the constituents of the research and business development, you look at the first element, which is we actually have big problem in this part of the world, is the culture. The culture is missing. We should instill in all those researchers that research is important for the country. As long as we do it in terms of business development, then it will be successful. So if you create the culture, it's still missing, by the way. We don't collaborate, we don't do business development, and then at the end, we blame the industry, and the industry blames the academia. Academia plays an important role in giving inexpensive research to the industry. The industry plays an important role to actually make the education, the academia, be a part of that development. And the government, of course, government is always a main partner. Maybe they start, there are sparks available, they initiate, there's an ignition, and then it goes aside and it continues. So it's very important to get industry, and last but not the least, the private, either through venture capitals, either through corporate social responsibilities, or other kinds of responsibilities that is required by private to be a part of this R&BD group, whatever you can call it. Third is entrepreneurship and incubation. If you look at incubation model, you have an idea, there's a review in it, and then it enters into the incubation center. This incubation center has a door, and these incubatees, you always give them all required services for those incubatees to make them successful. But that's not enough. We need to have a business acceleration center, or we can call it entrepreneurship acceleration center, that we will give them all the elements to make them successful. An idea is important, and the person has an idea, but there is nobody that helps them to mentor them to become successful in terms of business, finance, accounting, in terms of VC access, in terms of legal issues, in terms of IP management, and all these patents. We need to create all together. This will be successful. It will then create a startup which will create the knowledge we are looking for. Never underestimate the value of an idea. Every positive idea has within it potential for success if it is managed properly. Sheikh Muhammad has said, the biggest risk is not to take a risk. And of course, you always miss 100% of the shots you didn't take.